Committee meeting of August 23rd, 2023 for the great city of Brisbane. To make a public comment, you may email aetherton@brisbanecalifornia.org. And to join us, you may join us on brisbaneca.org/OSAC-Zoom. I'd like to call the meeting to order and go through a roll call here. Shanna Calmes, we know will be absent from the meeting today. And I would entertain a motion to include a committee member to attend the meeting remotely under the emergency circumstances of AB 2449. Is there anyone who would like to attend remotely? Would that be our chairperson?
Aaron? I would. I would. This is Glenn. I got home really late. I hadn't had anything to eat since lunch. So I Zoomed. Is that acceptable, or do you want me to get off and walk over?
Unfortunately, without a valid emergency provision, I don't think we can allow you to join remotely, Glenn. So I think we will have to have you come over and just be a little bit late. I'm not aware of any way that we can accommodate you remotely without advance notice or a valid emergency provision.
All right. I guess starvation is not a valid emergency.
Contagious illness. Aaron on the...
My apologies to everybody. I'll see you soon.
Okay, see you.
Thanks. Sorry,
Is there
Glenn.
any other member that would like to attend remotely?
Aaron is attending under the traditional Brown Act provisions, so she is on by teleconference, and that is not part of the emergency provisions. That was notified along with the meeting agenda.
Excellent.
So we are good to go on that front.
Okay, so call
Adrian,
the roll.
I do have one quick question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm joining by telephone, which is the original Brown Act thing. Can I also join by Zoom just to watch you guys if I only participate by voice through telephone?
You can join by Zoom and just keep your video off. That counts as the same thing as joining by teleconference.
I think the question was, could she watch the video?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean...
Perfect. Yeah, in that case, I will hang up my phone and join after I join by Zoom and have you guys online. Thank you.
Okay.
I was going to see if she was present, but she's hanging up. Okay, good.
No, she's staying on until she joins the other way. So she's still here.
So I'm calling the roll. Barbara Abel?
Here.
Glenn Fieldman will be joining us shortly and has weighed in. Jason Noonan, I am present. Mary Rogers.
Here.
And Michelle Salmon.
Here.
Excellent. And then I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Do we need a roll call for the adoption? We do. Great. So I'll call on Erin Becker. Chairman Becker.
Aye.
Call on Barbara Abel.
Aye.
On myself, I would vote in favor. And Mary Rogers.
Aye.
And Michelle Salmon.
Aye.
So the meeting is called to order and we've adopted the agenda. Are there any announcements for the committee?
Yes.
Yes.
Save September 10th for the San Bruno Mountain Watch pancake breakfast and native plant sale. It is from 9 until noon for breakfast and 9 until 2 for the native plant sale, and it is really awesome. So mark it on your calendars. It's Sunday, September 10th. Thank you.
Excellent. I plan on cooking, or at least running around and helping. Any other announcements?
Do you want me to bring my gluten-free pancake batter?
I would love for you to bring your gluten-free pancake batter.
And this time I'll promise not to spill the first batch down my front steps, so I have to go back and make more.
Okay.
Are there any oral communications at this time? Oral communications.
I will note for the record that 2 correspondences were received from Dana Dilworth and forwarded to the committee today.
Outstanding. Any other oral communications? Is there a motion to approve the minutes from July 26th? I had a chance to review. Anyone? Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve the minutes.
Thank you. Is there a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Second. Can we go through the roll? I ask if for Aaron Becker,
I approve.
Barbara Ebel,
Aye.
Jason Noonan, I approve. Mary Rogers,
Aye.
and Michelle Salmon.
Aye.
Great. The minutes of July 26th have been approved. Brings us to new business. We'd like to look at the response to the Little Hoover Commission's report of SB 1383. I understand that Chairman Becker and Adrian Etherton have been key in this, and if I could call on Adrian to let us know where we stand with the letter.
Certainly. So hopefully you can see the letter on screen. I've just shared it as well with our Zoom audience. I want to thank Member Fieldman for bringing this Little Hoover Commission report to our attention last month. Staff looked into the report, and kind of the bottom line, as you'll see in the draft letter written here, is that while we agree with the majority of the individual recommendations within the report, we disagree with the overarching conclusion to pause SB 1383's implementation. There's a lot of momentum. There's a lot of effort that has already gone into this here in Brisbane and statewide, and I think it would be detrimental to the cause to fully pause implementation. I think the staff perspective is that it would be likely prudent of Cal Recycle to not start fining cities that maybe don't have the resources that we do, or that have not been able to achieve all of the goals and steps of SB 1383. There are certainly some challenges here with this legislation. It is a large package of requirements that is certainly very staff intensive. And there's some work that could be done at the state level to improve and really actually help meet our goals. So that's how the letter was, essentially drafted, with that in mind, calling out some specific things that we support or would like to see addressed from the Little Hoover Commission report, but generally, stating our disagreement with the suggestion to pause implementation. So I would be happy to hear any questions or suggestions with regard to the letter.
I have,
Excellent.
I think it's excellent. I really am in total support of it. I just have one small thing that I would recommend, is that second paragraph is very long. And I would suggest we break that into 2 paragraphs at the word rather than pausing.
But Michelle, then it's not going to fit on one page.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah.
But it loses its impact with having that long of a paragraph. They won't get to the part about rather than pausing. That's my worry. Is there any way to?
I'll see what I can do.
Can we print it on legal size paper?
I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
I can do some further formatting.
And you're
Backflips.
really good at editing.
Yeah, I've already made some formatting fixes to try to squeeze it onto one page. But
Yeah, I see that.
Point taken, and I will see what I can do. And if it needs to be more than one page, so be it.
Yeah, it's just I want them to really read it. And if we do go to 2 pages, the next paragraph down could be broken into 2 also right after SB 1383, we support state. It's just when you have a big block of type like that, it's not comprehensible, and people just take one look at it and turn away.
Not me.
I would second what you're saying. Not that the writing is not good, but the modern attention span has become shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
And the shorter we make the paragraphs, the shorter their attention span is going to become.
No, I don't think so.
We have to, I think so. We're going to have to challenge them at some point, or they're just going to.
I don't know if our little letter is going to undo
Well, no, it won't.
hours of
But
Instagram. So
Yeah.
I would like to
Okay.
call on to see if Chairperson Becker wanted to comment since her name is on the document.
And I do see that she has her hand raised already anyhow. So Erin, please go
Excellent.
ahead.
Perfect, thank you. I would like to say that I had very little to do with this letter. All the credit goes to Adrian, but when I saw this in the agenda packet, I thought this is amazing and I'm so glad she did it. And if nothing else, I mean, they should do everything else, but if nothing else, just the education component while those other jurisdictions get their infrastructure together is so important. So Adrian, hats off to you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Here,
I
here.
agree.
Certainly.
Here. So what should I call for now? Say, is the group in agreement that we go ahead? and
Yeah,
move
I would
forward?
recommend that someone make a motion.
Okay.
I
I'd like
move,
to-
oh, go ahead, Erin.
I
Go ahead.
recommend that we approve and send this letter out. If Adrian can find space to break that paragraph up into two, that's great. If not, I vote she sends it anyway.
Yes.
I second that.
Second. Okay. So I would just turn to the group again and say, Chairperson Becker, do you approve? No.
Yes, I do.
Yes. And Barbara Ebel?
Aye.
Glenn Fieldman's still on the way. Jason Noonan, I approve. Mary Rogers
Aye.
and Michelle Salmon.
Aye.
And so I was just calling for your vote, and if we go ahead and share the letter that Adrian, yes, good. So it looks like the matter is approved, and we should send out the letter with a little bit of tweaking if we can.
Certainly, will do.
Thank you. So the next item of business would be the Building Efficiency Program, the annual presentation for that.
And just give me 1 second. We're actually going to switch chairs and I need to get some things on the screen here. So Jonna Broglie, our summer intern, is going to be making the presentation. And, oh, hang on. I'm sorry. We want to start with the slides, don't we? Yeah. Are you guys still seeing, you guys are still seeing slides right now, yes? Erin, are you as well on Zoom still seeing slides?
I have only seen slides since you went to that letter. I have not seen the committee.
Did you see the letter when it was on the screen?
I did. Yep.
Okay, good.
And it went
Okay.
straight to slides. Sorry.
Okay, perfect. Things are working as intended. So when you're ready to
Thank you.
go on to this, you'll just need to drag it over here. And then it should-
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you all in person. I was on Zoom for the last meeting, so it's nice to meet you guys. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the annual benchmarking program and the Beyond program that's kind of wrapping up this year. So we had some final deadlines, and we've been sending out citations and being in contact with those not in compliance. So for annual benchmarking, 87% are either incompliant or exempt, and 13 are not submitted. So only 2 of those not submitted are not in contact with us, and we've sent them citations accordingly. And then for the Beyond program, we have 61% in compliance for year 1, meaning that they're either exempt for this year or have some other valid reason why they're not in compliance, or they are in compliance. And then 43% are in compliance for the entire cycle, meaning they won't have to do anything else until the next cycle in 5 years. So those numbers are good, and we're looking at contacting those who aren't in contact with us and working on compliance with those who are in contact with us. So yeah, we haven't sent out any citations yet for the Beyond program, as the program was rolled out a little bit later than we wanted to, so we don't want to penalize anybody just yet for that, but we are in contact with pretty much everybody except for 2 people. So yeah. And then the other thing that I've been working on this summer is the website. So I'm going to pull up that for you. Oh, shoot. Click that.
to go, I think it thinks it's off to the side, so you may have to drag.
Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. So I've been updating the building efficiency program homepage as well as the tabs on the side here. We found that it needed some updating because it still had old language on it from before the Beyond program was implemented. So we wanted to make sure that that was refreshed. So on this homepage, you can see that there's no more text about like later when the Beyond program will be implemented. It's mostly an overview of the program and then highlights of big deadlines for the two programs. The other thing we wanted to really make sure was clear was that the two programs are separate because we've had some confusion in the past about Beyond being a part of annual benchmarking when they're very different. So we wanted to separate those as well. And then also on the homepage, we have updated the map. And so now it has 2022 data as well as 2021, which is great. And if we click this, we can see the 2022 data so far. There's still some non-compliant buildings in there, but we'll keep updating that as they come in. And yeah, that's looking good. All right.
What do the colors mean?
Let's see. So the colors, how do I get back here? This guy? Oh, wait, maybe. There we go. Okay. The different colors just mean basically the energy efficiency based on the Energy Star score. So the green is higher than 80, yellow 50 to 80, etc. Red is out of compliance, purple exempt, and blue is not eligible for Energy Star, which can still mean they're in compliance. But yeah. So that's for the map.
I had a question. So are we noticing any pattern about the places that are not responding or not in compliance?
Yeah, so some that were not in compliance last year, I would say, are a couple of those are not in compliance again. And there's that kind of repeat pattern, but a couple of the ones that aren't in compliance this year have some other kind of valid reason, whether that's like movement of property owners or new tenants, things like that that are sort of out of their control. So we're working with them on the communication aspect.
It's not like a particular property owner, because I know we have some large property owners out there.
Yeah. Adrienne, do you have any thoughts?
Is this mic? Okay. I would say generally, no. Like we got to full compliance for last reporting year. It took until, basically January or February, I think, of this year before we got everybody's report for the previous cycle in, but we did get to everybody. So now the challenge is more when there's turnover, and that, tenants turnover. So building owners who, had gotten the data from previous tenants now are having to struggle to inform new tenants and get the data from them. And then we've had a couple buildings that sold where we had to go try to track down that new owner. So that's really where our challenge is now, which kind of goes back to the challenge in the first year or two, was just getting to the right people. Generally, we haven't had too many issues once we actually get to the right people. But getting to the right people is often a challenge.
Might be a word to the wise building owner to include something in their future lease contracts.
And we have recommended that to some folks, and some of them are starting to do that, especially some of the bigger companies have mentioned that they are starting to do that. But
great.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
hand with Glenn.
So when somebody is not eligible for Energy Star, and there seem to be a lot of those on this map, what happens?
so basically, they can still, blue does not mean that they are not in compliance with our program. They have reported their data to us and done everything they need to be. But the building type is not something that Energy Star has created a score for. So as far as benchmarking purposes are concerned, they've done what they need to do and they're in compliance. That does mean when they get to the beyond cycle, and this is actually going to be probably where more of it is going to be happening next year when we get those industrial buildings are subject to the beyond requirements. The beyond requirements have this performance pathway. And one of the easiest ways to qualify for that is to have an Energy Star score above 80. And so if you are not eligible for an Energy Star score, then we have to look to your energy use intensity and try to compare it to other like buildings. And that can be challenging for us from a perspective of, do we have good data that is appropriate to be a benchmark for Brisbane buildings? Sometimes we don't have another building of that type locally. So, and our building sector is so small that it wouldn't probably make sense to compare to a local average anyhow. And buildings in California are typically far more efficient than the national data that is available. So we do have to, kind of make some compromises there. But we do have methods that we're going to be using as far as looking at that national data to give them an opportunity, even though they don't have an Energy Star score, to still qualify for that performance pathway.
So does city staff calculate some kind of a score for them? Is that how it works?
No, we just look at their energy use intensity, which is something that's already tracked through their reporting. That's very standardized in the portfolio manager reporting. And we compare it to other data that's available from EPA and generally EPA or Department of Energy kind of data sources.
Okay, so it's not a huge investment of staff time or anything like that?
No, it's one, checking one thing versus checking another. It's not, I don't anticipate it being a huge hurdle for us.
Do we disclose the names of these companies that are non-compliant and compliant? Is that public information?
Well, the map that you're seeing is public information, but Jonna, can you just click on a dot there?
Yeah.
So you can see here what information is disclosed. We do not include building owners. It's really intended to be kind of summary statistics about the building. So you can see that the building is not in compliance by that red dot. This is hopefully eventually something that can be used as a tool by potential property owners or tenants to understand that, oh, this building I'm about to buy, it's not very efficient. Or this building I'm about to move in, not very efficient. That might cost me more in energy, or that might cost me more in future building upgrades. But as far as kind of shaming the existing owners by putting their name on it, not exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
No.
I'm not seeing any names, are there? Even good or bad? There's no names.
I don't believe so.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a way we could reach out to commercial real estate agents to let them know that this tool is available for their prospective buyers and tenants.
Well, I know we have one very prominent commercial real estate person in town who is aware of this program because he's been part of helping a couple of buildings comply. I'm not sure if there's an easy way for us to know who that list of commercial real estate folks who are working in town is.
Yeah, that's kind of
that's I think the challenge is knowing who. We have in the past, and I think will again this year, done articles in both the Star and the Luminary about this map and it being available. We did one last year, so I think we would consider doing something like that again. And certainly if there are other outreach avenues that folks can recommend, we would be interested, but tracking down commercial realtors is.
Yeah, I mean, it is sort of, a difficult winnowing job. But if they're working in the city of Brisbane, they should have a business license. So potentially that is one something that could be tried.
Good point.
Thank you for your hard work on this. Really
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Did we have?
Erin raised her hand a moment
Oh,
ago.
yeah, go ahead.
Calling Chairperson Beckman.
I had actually lowered it, but since you called on me, I'll go ahead and say it. Adrian, you talked about the difficulty in finding the new tenants and who to talk to if the building changed hands or changed tenants. My curiosity was, because the city runs the utility billing website where we pay our water bill, I was wondering if that might help you guys out, but you don't have to answer
Sometimes,
the meeting. I was just, putting that out there as an option.
yes, sometimes it does help and other times it doesn't because it's not the person who's actually, paying the utility bill. Yeah.
Thanks, Glenn.
Just one tiny quibble, and thank you for all the work. It really shows clearly, how our building efficiency program is doing. Adrian, you said, I think, didn't you, that non-Energy Star eligible buildings were still compliant?
Yes.
It might be helpful to indicate that, because right now all it says is non-Energy Star, right? So we don't know if they're compliant or not.
I actually noticed that exact point today and asked Bob if we could change the way that is written in the legend. And it turns out doing so would kind of require him to remake the wheel. So I was hoping it was going to be a fast, just update this label to this instead so that it says complied but not eligible for Energy Star, and that's not an easy fix. So at this point in time, we may want to just make an asterisk on the website or something that effect, and we may consider trying to see if we can change that in the future. But Bob did I definitely want to give Bob the kudos due here. He did a lot of work in just the last couple of weeks to get this up and together. And you will actually notice I don't know how visible it is here on your screen, but we have last year's data still available too. So they're actually tabs. So we won't be replacing, we'll be adding to as we go forward.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, because that's what put me off asking about Energy Star. So
Yeah. Okay. I had a feeling. We brought it up. It was not something that could be done quickly, or it would have already been changed. I think.
Got it.
I would second what Glenn's saying because it's the largest single group. I think so it's
It stands out.
It stands out, yes. But what also stands out is the excellent work and level of attention you've given this. So thank you very much.
All credit to Bob on the map here. Yeah, I can take credit for some of the website. But
Bob gets it too. You get it as well.
I think there was one more thing you wanted to show on the website.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah,
ahead.
so we can switch back over here. So that's it for the homepage. And then if you look at the sidebar here, we've made some changes on what we wanted to include. So I think before we had beyond requirements were underneath annual benchmarking, if I remember correctly. And there were some other kind of confusingly named tabs that we thought we would get rid of or rename. So this is a bit of a remodel, but starting with this guy, I've been working on making some sort of flyer version of something that we could send to people who have never heard of the program before or are really confused and just sort of want something visual that they can get started with. So this is an image of a flyer I've made. And then if you click down here, there's a PDF version of it that opens up, which has a bit more of a description at the top here, a banner, and then all of these links are clickable. So if somebody was sent this in an email as sort of an introduction, they could just kind of click on any of these links to access things like frequently asked questions and reporting links, et cetera. So we have one of these for annual benchmarking and then one for the beyond requirements as well on the other page. So yeah, this is just a photo of it, so we included a link to the PDF. And then a bit farther down, this hasn't changed much. This is the annual benchmarking. We left most of this because it's a little more self-explanatory than the beyond. But we still included a compliance help page, which had a bit of a update. The main thing that's been changed is that at the top here, we've included a resources tab. This is just basically a compiled list of all potential links that somebody might need, and we can keep adding to it as needed. So yeah, that's something that we've added. Yeah.
It looks good and easy to use. Have you had any feedback from businesses about confusion, or did they like the setup, or?
You know, this has been added pretty recently, like the last week or so. So no, not yet, but we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah, I'm interested to see what people think. We're trying to make it more clear and less complicated seeming.
I guess I would just say we haven't necessarily had feedback on the new version yet, but we have, I think, over the last couple of years received plenty of, where do I find that? I can't find that link anymore, kinds of questions that seem to imply that things needed to be fixed or updated or made more clear where to find certain things. So I think it was a little bit in response to that. And then the flyer that Jonna mentioned was really directly in response to some feedback that we got on a call from one of the property owners who's struggling to get their tenants in line and needing something that they can give their tenant to be like, here. And so you'll notice in the flyer, some of the detailed language really specifies like tenants have to do this and owners have to do that. So that it was very clear that like there's responsibilities on both sides.
Great.
Yeah.
Nicely done. All right.
Good
Thank
job.
you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Looks like next up on the agenda is our discussion of goats to address gorse, the west end of Crocker Trail. My goodness, goats and gorse. Who wants to open up that discussion?
Well, I sent Adrian an article, which she sent to everybody else, and goats have been pretty widely used to deal with invasive species problems and fire hazards and things like that. And, you know, I'm hoping, I think the west end of Crocker Trail is maybe a good place to start as a kind of experiment before we start pushing to use goats elsewhere on the mountain. But that's what I'm hoping will eventually happen.
Excellent.
That's it. I mean, and I sent the article which refers to the use of goats.
Right. And Michelle read to us at the beginning, just before the meeting, about that goats definitely have a taste for it and it's all good. Did you say, near the end of the last meeting, did you say it's gorse that they don't care for? But
I honestly don't remember.
Okay. But what we did hear was that they definitely will go for this. So other comments?
I recently read on the internet that goats don't like broom, which was a bummer.
Right.
That's what it was.
I haven't read anything about gorse.
All right. Thank you, Chairperson Becker. Yeah, that was what it was. I confused gorse and broom. Thanks.
Frankly, I'm really happy that I like gorse because we can't set volunteers to eradicating gorse because it's just too brutal and without bulldozing, et cetera. So I'm very happy. We should really do this. It is a tremendous fire hazard up at the end of West Hill, as exhibited by the brief fire we had the year before this year, right behind Hensley.
Agreed.
And fortunately, they got it out quickly. But that whole area up there at the west end of Crocker Industrial Park is gorse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember talking about goats in this many, many, many years ago, 10 years ago, maybe. And I'm glad to see it's finally coming around because I was excited by it then and I'm excited by it now.
Yeah. I don't know that I would recommend goats for habitat management for other things, but definitely for gorse. We'd have to research other areas because goats tend to be pretty indiscriminate.
Yeah.
What would next steps be, staff? What would we do if we wanted to try to advance this? Because I think to a person, we seem to think it's a great idea to explore. What would our next step be?
Yeah, and I think Glenn's suggestion of trying someplace sort of more down lower on the mountain that's a little more in kind of like human disturbed habitat is a great idea, because I also hear Michelle saying that goats can be indiscriminate. So that, she's right. We don't want to like set them right on the up top of the mountain in the middle of the loop and be like, what you gonna do?
Well, I don't think we could probably get permission to do that anyway, because it's, either ecological preserve or state and county land, but.
I am being hyperbolic, yeah.
It'd be nice to talk to an actual goat person with the herd and get an idea of how much it might cost for the size of area that we would like to treat. That's what I think we should do.
I just think I read an article in the New York Times about the Maui fire and how invasive species played a big part in that and how drastic it was. And so now with the goats, I feel like a sense of urgency that we need to get on this. I mean, I would hate to have that happen here.
Yeah.
And whatever we need to do to move it along, I think we should do it.
Can you guys do the looking into what the cost is? We don't have budget allocated at this time, but if it's small enough, we might be able to try to see if we can do it out of what the budget we have.
Okay.
If it's, 5,000 or more, we probably have to ask for the money.
Okay.
Karen, we might be able to get some funding because of the fire break aspect of it at the end of West Hill.
Well, I like the way you
We have that 100-foot wide swath that we do every year along, Trinity and interface between the habitat and the town. And this is kind of the same thing, because the last fire that happened up there, actually, they got it out really fast and it was awesome, but that they did. But it still was close enough that to the Northeast Ridge development and to the buildings in Crocker Industrial Park that people were edgy about it. So there may be funding other than OSEC funding that could be applied to fire break management.
I think they use sheriff, they get workers that can do community service that are in jail.
They do use community service workers for that.
But I'm sure there's still some money, maybe.
There are grants. I guess my reaction to that would be, it would be very helpful to have a defined area and a kind of cost estimate in mind.
Yes.
Depending on what that cost is, some of these grants require a lot of time and administrative effort. If we don't need a huge budget, it may not be worth going after a grant. And if we are going to go after a grant, we're going to have to know how much we need to be going after, and have a estimated budget to, include in that request.
I think the vibe I'm feeling is a small test, a smaller test.
I don't mind doing the research, trying to get some quotes.
Wonderful.
And then I could reach out to you guys if,
That'd be super.
to help if I needed it. But I will do that because this is important.
Yeah.
And to me, I think the city should, fork over more than what we have in our budget. This is a big deal. So I don't mind doing the research on that, and I'll send it out to you guys via email before the next meeting.
I kind of put up my hands
any
about
goat people, could you maybe ask them about fennel too?
Yeah.
Whether goats can eat that?
Okay.
the
I was
Trinity. That's
Barbara. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Karen,
And
go
Trinity
ahead.
is managed by the fire department, fire inspector, and so I don't know. That's why I kind of did that. Is I don't know many details about whether they're getting grants or whether they have a budget. But then they chose that area and want to protect those homes that are right up against it.
Right. I understand that.
Can I go to Barbara, who had raised her hand? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know exactly what area you're thinking of, but I'm assuming that there are some businesses near there. So we might be able to do a city business partnership, like $1 from the business owners, $1 from the city, and then our $5,000 budget becomes $10,000. And I would think, since we're just planning a small test area, that would be more than adequate because these property owners should be invested as well because it's
It's a horrible plant. It's a horrible plant. If I had the property, I'd be like, sure, here's $1 for your.
yeah.
Good idea, Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay. All righty.
So, sorry, go ahead. Who is? No, I just wanted to say thank you for looking into that. And
Oh,
then
yeah, no, it's
so
important.
You will tell staff and then they'll push it off to us so that we don't have a brown.
So
Yeah.
I'll report in and then I guess formally you'll report out. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Mary, maybe
Well,
we
this is
could do
exciting.
that.
Yes. Okay.
I think this is great, and I loved your idea, everyone's ideas, and the idea of just a little confined test, see how it goes, and then
And then maybe make it
go for
larger.
the,
Yeah.
put up the begging cup and ask for big bucks from the city. The thrill of power. Now, it would bring us to the staff update portion of our evening. I think. Is there a motion for staff updates?
I don't think we need one.
I think, I'm kidding.
No motion needed. I am just needed to grab my notes. Okay, so I didn't, well, let me just double check. I did not. There may be a couple of you who have not yet completed sexual harassment training or provided a certificate. I actually was supposed to mention this last month and forgot and didn't get an update from HR staff this afternoon when I realized it and tried to reach out. If you have not yet completed it or provided a certificate showing that you've completed it through your employer, please look into that and get that to, you should have an email from Carla Solis on the HR staff.
I completed it.
I completed it, but I didn't see a way to.
I don't have you on my list as having not completed it.
Okay.
So I think you're good.
I wasn't sure if my certificate like zoomed off by itself or what.
It must have.
Okay.
Or somehow they knew, because you are not on my list. I had 3 people, and if you've done it in the last month, then that would no longer be accurate, but I won't call you out now. But if you're not sure, if you're on my list, maybe stop by before you leave.
On the list.
You're not on the
Okay.
list. SB 1383, we are down to just 4 businesses and 6 residences that we are still working to get in compliance. So we've had a couple of rounds of citations, including some in-person deliveries by myself and our code enforcement officer, and those numbers are down to almost single digits. So that's excellent.
1383. Could you remind us what that is again?
Oh, sorry, that's the requirement that everyone have organic waste service.
Okay. I will say this. It's been a problem, I guess, at the marina, and they no longer have the organic waste at H dock because people aren't being compliant about what they're putting in there. And they're not having the recycling carts at each dock anymore either. And that, I consider that to be kind of a problem. I just found this out yesterday.
I was not aware of that.
I didn't think you were.
I will look into that.
Okay, thank you.
I see a hand from Aaron as well.
Yeah, so I had this interesting phenomenon where I had a cat sitter when I was recently out of town, and I got back and the bins were mayhem because they came from another city in the Bay Area and didn't understand what Brisbane is doing. And then I had to look through all those bins and be like, I have to dig through someone else's trash in order to be compliant. And so, I had all that stress that was the week they were going to flip my lids and they were going to see compost in the trash and recycling that wasn't rinsed out and all the things. So it's my public service announcement is make sure if you have cat sitters or house sitters or whatever that you give them the proper website so they know what to do in Brisbane.
Great plug, Aaron.
Good point.
I will say that generally there are multiple warnings, even if you do get a naughty note from a lid flip that discovered some errors, as I understand it. So I wouldn't say you need to be overly stressed about it, but definitely try.
I flipped my lid years ago. Barbara,
I'm just a little surprised because I didn't think, maybe it's just because I've only lived in Brisbane and San Francisco. I didn't think that there was, I mean, unless you go out into the really the far reach parts of the state where they just don't have any programs at all, I didn't think there was that much difference in the
So
programs.
we separate recycling and cardboard,
Okay.
bottles and cardboard, which is new for
SF doesn't.
people who come from other places in the Bay Area. And our recycling numbers are realistic to what the market is, but they have a push towards everything that's plastic, et cetera, goes in the recycling bin.
Wish cycling.
Ours is actually really different also because our green waste goes to the anaerobic digester.
But that's not something that affects a user.
It absolutely does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because what you put in your green waste is different in San Francisco than what you put in your green waste here.
Really?
Because they compost and we go in the anaerobic digester. And also, yeah.
What, can you give an example of what would be different? Because I'm not sure
Pizza box?
A pizza box should go in the compost in either jurisdiction, I believe.
A pizza box goes into the green waste here.
Yes, as it should in San Francisco as well.
No.
I believe that's true, but I think those little compostable bags that are such a problem in our anaerobic digester might not be a problem as big of a problem everywhere.
That is true. Some jurisdictions will accept them. I think they're generally discouraged, but some don't make as much of an issue of it.
And then also when I helped train people when I was working in Walnut Creek, very different than what we do here. And each area handles it differently. One of the reasons why we're so fortunate to have South San Francisco scavengers is they have been able to divert more of the waste stream than almost any other in the state of California. So,
Colin, one more for Glenn, and then let's push forward.
I was going to ask, does San Francisco accept meat and dairy waste in green bins? I'm not sure they do because their stuff gets composted, whereas ours gets anaerobically digested. And so it's possible that San Francisco only takes vegetable waste. It's been a long time since I've lived in San Francisco, so I don't remember, but that's possible.
I just pulled up Ecology San Francisco's website, and their food scrap things show cheese, meat, and dirty and soiled paper. So
you can put anything in there.
Greasy pizza boxes go
All as
in their
well.
compost.
Pizza boxes are welcome. Okay.
Good.
What's next?
Just not cat
on our
litter.
list here?
So I guess on a related point, we are participating in a countywide compost quality education campaign. Basically, there was a grant to jurisdictions through CalRecycle for SB 1383 implementation, and many of the cities in San Mateo County, I think actually all of the jurisdictions in San Mateo County decided to join up for our RCD compost application program that you've heard about before, and a second program that is basically going to be a regional marketing campaign, for lack of a better term, to try to educate people on what goes in your compost so that we can try to improve the people's sorting habits. So that's going to be happening at the county level.
Nice.
You may have noticed on your way in that we have some construction in our parking lot again. That is for the DC fast charger installation. So that should be completed within the next week. That may not necessarily mean that the station is activated and usable in that time frame, but that is underway. And fun fact that I actually just realized yesterday with this new charger is that unlike the one that we had at the village that had the two different charging cords, but you could only use one at a time, this has the two different charging cords and they can actually both be used at the same time. So it requires having not the adapter that the other person using it needs, but if you have the two different types of vehicles that need the two different standards, they can be used simultaneously. Also started yesterday, and I haven't actually made it up there to see yet, is the solar installation at Mission Blue Center as part of the PCE solar bulk procurement project got started. So both of them started yesterday, and both of them are expected to be pretty fast construction projects. And I think with the solar, that's a similar kind of that it may not necessarily be flipped on, and for a while we've got to wait for PG&E's go ahead, but the construction should only take a few days, probably will be complete at the end of the week.
Excellent. Cool.
The PCE Board Executive Committee last week approved the local government electrification program that I am hoping we will be able to get some money for our pool heating electrification project from. It is going to their full board tomorrow night, so I'll be joining that and hoping to get that past the full board, and hopefully we'll be able to apply for some funds from them and get this project moving soon.
In that presentation, you might mention how that we don't serve just the community of Brisbane, that we serve a much wider community of schools.
Right.
Oh, I'm not actually making a presentation. Their staff is making a presentation on a proposed program. I have basically just been attending to throw in my, yes, please, we need this, help us electrify our pool. And I had a long chat with Councilmember Mackin, who is our PCE board rep, last week to make sure that she had, all of the information about the project and where it stands right now, so that, if questions come up, hopefully she can help address them. PCE staff has been working with, we've been in touch with them, telling them, here's what we have, here's what we need, how can you help? Providing them data on our project, and they are, I think, generally pretty supportive. But there's going to be a lot of demand from around the county, I think. So, and a limited pool of funds. So we'll see how that all shakes out.
Cool.
A limited pool. Yeah, I didn't even do that pun on purpose. It's come up when we've talked about it. In fact, we were on a RICAPS meeting, and somebody from South City said, "Oh yeah, I was just at your pool this morning. It's a great pool." Everybody acknowledges it's one of the best around.
We're serving others.
Yes.
Brisbane, helping your
I have not heard anyone saying, "Oh, you guys are so small, you only serve." No, there has not been any of.
Incorrect.
Everybody has generally been very understanding and supportive, and I think there's a lot of people that I feel like I've talked about this project ad nauseum for years. So everybody is generally hoping to see it get done.
Excellent.
If nothing else, but to hear me stop talking about it.
Anything else on your list?
Erin had a question that she posed to me, so I wanted to provide a little update on the conversation we had last time about the tree work from Planet Geo. Basically, there were questions about the data availability. If you remember, it was going to be 2010 and 2022,
Right.
and you guys had asked, is there anything newer? 2022 is pretty darn new in terms of the data world. This is satellite data, so they only fly over the state and provide updated data every 2 years. There is not getting anything newer than this. This is about as new as it gets in the data world. So our option is to move forward with 2022 data now, or we could wait until 2024, but we wouldn't be able to start that project until spring of 2025.
Right.
So I would recommend just going ahead at this point in time, unless others feel differently.
That was for the tree.
And then there was also some questions about prioritizing the tree inventory, if we might be getting close to that budgetary limit of 5,000 trees. And they said, absolutely, they can work with us to prioritize areas. They would start in one area and go on to the next and go on to the next. And if we're getting close to that limit, we can make sure that we stay within that. So there's no issue there. They're at this point in time scheduling out to do the inventory probably in January or February.
Have a hand
Yes.
from Barbara.
Yeah, I know some people, very smart and intelligent committee members, wanted to prioritize based on area. I was sort of interested in prioritizing on tree size. Is that something we decided not to do, not to pursue, or not to ask about, or?
I think that was included in my
Okay.
request.
Okay.
I don't
great.
I don't know if they specifically addressed that piece of it, but I think the kind of general answer that I got seemed to be a yes, of course we can do that.
And
So
I heard from Michelle like a yes.
Yeah, we agreed to tree size.
And we,
Okay, I couldn't remember.
no, I think that a lot of us, that the larger trees we want to, yes.
Yeah.
So we're all on the same page. Yay. There's a lady.
Coastal Cleanup Day,
Yay.
September 23rd, 9:30 to 12:30 at the Brisbane Marina North parking lot. I think at some point in time there was an email blast that went out that said something about RSVP by emailing to me. You don't need to do that. Please just show up.
Please don't do that.
I don't need you to email
Please
me. Just be
don't do
there. I'll order a bunch of sandwiches. Yes, Michelle.
At the same day, starting at noon, is the Sierra Point Yacht Club Regatta and, festival in the parking lot at the other end of the marina. And it's open to the public. Everyone is welcome. There will be, food and beverages for sale, and there will be live music.
Cool.
There will be actual boat races, dinghy races in the harbor. And so everyone is definitely invited to come.
Good. I want to go back to the staff
That's it.
updates. Yeah.
Yep. I have one last thing. I'm not sure if Karen had anything. This is actually putting on my RCD board member hat for a hot second.
OCD.
Thank you. Sorry, my acronym propensity. San Mateo Resource Conservation District. They do work to help people help the land. It's a special district, and I serve on their board of directors, and they've just released a 15-year impact report that I had intended to bring a stack of for all of you and to leave on the counter, and I left them sitting on my kitchen table at home. So instead, you get this picture here, and I'll bring you the other ones later if you want them. But some pretty impressive work happening there if you're ever interested in hearing more about it. I'd be more than happy to talk with you about it. And they are having a happy hour at Hop Dogma Brewing Company next Wednesday, 4 to 7 p.m. to celebrate the release of the impact report, and some of the proceeds will be going to support them. So if you're interested, come down and join me for a beer.
Nice.
Karen, did you have
Okay. Karen, any updates? No? All right. That would bring us to this subcommittee reports section of our program tonight, the events committee, which I'm on. We haven't met.
Yeah, we haven't met. I think we need to probably do so in the next couple of weeks, as Day in the Park is just around the corner.
Coming up.
Yep.
Coming up. Okay. So we should ask Adrian to send out a doodle.
I actually had a question.
Yeah.
There was criticism about us doing the CD spinners.
I think we got through the criticism, didn't we? I thought we were.
We're going to
good.
proceed
I
then.
thought we were
Okay,
good.
because I have like 50 CDs brand new CDs that I've gotten from,
I think we were good.
okay.
We were, yeah, I thought we were good.
So I'll go ahead and continue collecting the materials for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That once I can.
Education, so we should, Adrian, should we ask you humbly for a doodle poll or something when we should get together?
Yeah, I mean, if you've got your calendars on you and you want to swing by at the end of the meeting, we could try that. It might speed things up a bit, but
Okay.
otherwise I actually
Oh, we're all here.
had Day in the Park planning on my to-do list and
Okay.
didn't get to it today, so got
We're-
bumped
we're right
to
here.
tomorrow, but
We'll knock it out.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Education and outreach. Who wants to speak? Dr. Fieldman?
We haven't met.
We probably need to meet. I don't know, what about the library? Is it time to change?
probably getting
display?
to be time, and I think we may need to start thinking, we may have only one more that we had
I
kind
think
of
so.
already prepared the plans for, or kind of detailed out the library catalog materials. So we should get started on that as well. I did get an email at the the contact at the library has left, so we have a new contact. So I need to be in touch with them to introduce myself and, yeah.
Adrian, could you send out what we did previously? Because I don't even remember. I remember we covered dark skies. We covered what else?
I think the ones that we've done so far have been dark skies, one that was around waste and composting.
Yes.
Is that the one that's up right now?
That's why we need to track that down and
Yeah,
see.
I've got the document. I can send it back out.
Okay, thank you.
Building decarbonization, any action there?
Yes,
Yay.
we met. I mean, do you want to talk? Want me to talk?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not feeling very chatty, sorry.
So we met, unfortunately, without Aaron. So it was Barbara and Adrian and me last week, as a matter of fact. And we spent a lot of time talking about the fact that our no natural gas in new buildings ordinance is kind of in suspense because of a court case involving Berkeley's natural gas ordinance. So Adrian brought us up to date on that. And then we also talked about the possibility of having an event, probably sometime next spring, to encourage people in the city to electrify their buildings, install heat pump water heater, heat pump air heating and air conditioning, and maybe induction stoves. We feel that there's quite a lot of uncertainty about how those things work, and maybe doing some kind of a demonstration with cooperative residents of Brisbane might be a good idea. So we spent a lot of time batting that idea around and thinking about what we could do, but we haven't made any specific plans. So I think that was it. You want to add anything?
This is good.
I wanted to provide an update that I just saw today about the lawsuit. We had talked about not having a clear understanding of the timeline and how things might be resolved with that. So I've just seen today that there should be a decision. The likely date for hearing back from the court would be September 7th. It shouldn't be before August 31st. So basically, based on the filing dates of certain briefs and the timelines that follow, it should be sometime between August 31st and September 7th. Probably not until September 7th, if I'm guessing, that they will have a decision on whether or not that en banc hearing will be granted. It sounds like there's a possibility that, certain judges could request an extension and it could be later than that, but fingers crossed, we're going to have a decision on that front and a little bit more clarity on how things move forward soon. And what was also interesting in this thread was a note that I will need to discuss with our legal counsel, but about what if the en banc hearing is granted. There's some belief that may mean that the current ruling is basically ineffective unless the en banc hearing confirms it. So I need to sort through that a little bit, but
September 7th.
some helpful news today.
Coming quick. Open space plan, any update there? Anything going on? Open space plan?
Karen, ball's in your court.
I did not get the update together to give to you guys. Can do about 2 things a month, and the other 2 subcommittees got something done. Did you guys want to meet?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay.
And it would be great to have the updated document to work from, if possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got
Okay.
a little
thank
movement
you.
on the other 2 this month.
Frogs are next.
Hey,
Frogs are
frogs, the
next.
frogs. What's happening? I haven't done anything. I went down and looked at it, but that's about it.
Did we find out about the weed whacking?
I talked to the fire inspector, and he said he did not send them a letter, and he thinks that they did what
just
wanted to do. So if you remember far back when we met with the city manager, the idea was that we were putting together what we wanted, and then he wanted to have some coordination with staff, maybe you guys and that property owner, about the maintenance. So we find, it took a long time to get the report. I sent it a while back. I heard from Shauna, was the only one, about the report. Did you guys look at it?
I believe so. Yeah, I don't think I had. I mean, I'm not.
Is this the report from
Is this the one that was just attached to the email you sent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I didn't have any comments.
Okay. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to meet and talk about it, or you had comments, or so I guess we can proceed with trying to get that meeting set up with that property owner and talk about the plan.
Yes.
Is this the report from the outside
our-
bylaw? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Could you send that to the whole?
Yeah, I was kind of waiting for the subcommittee to give feedback, so I guess I'm getting it
Go
now.
ahead, because the report may have come out before I was on the committee. I don't know. I don't
No, it wasn't since last month.
That's
No,
fine.
you sent it out. I think it was like August the 8th or something
Okay.
like that, from what
Okay.
I
I'll
remember.
go through
Yeah,
my
I
email.
was looking at it. Yeah.
Good
I'll go
memory.
through my email, but I guess others would like to look at it too.
I would love to look at it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, and then we'll set that to move next. Crocker Trail, that's what we just did. Invasive species ordinance. Ooh, I'm on this too. Yes. Yes. Where are we at? What's happening? I know we're working hard.
We met quite a while ago, several weeks ago, and I think we're still waiting to meet with the council liaisons.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Karen.
met
I think
2
that's
weeks
our
ago.
next
2 weeks ago.
And I have requested that.
You have?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, good. So our next step, we're going to meet with the legions of honor. Yes.
We decided we needed to meet with the liaisons before we proceeded, just to get their take on what we've done so far, and whether they thought it might fly or whether they thought it could be modified in some way. So we're waiting for that.
Good. Go ahead,
in Hawaii.
Dr. Eve Becker.
Oh, sorry. I should have raised my hands. After what's going on in Hawaii and the invasives leading to worse or more catastrophic outcomes, I'm really excited about our invasives ordinance.
Yes, Mary's point, and absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
And goats.
And goats, yes, and goats. Taking us to now the colorful and entertaining Dark Skies Committee. What's happening with our skies?
So staff, after we met or got feedback from the consultant, staff polished up the ordinance and sent it to the committee members for review. And we have a meeting coming up this Monday. Hopefully it's on everybody's calendar, but Adrian, I don't have a calendar invite for this one that I can see from the phone. But this Monday, noon to 1 p.m. So it's a lunchtime meeting. Fellow subcommittee members. I printed it to read it. This is all TMI, but I printed it to read it when I was on travel. And of course I couldn't get the track changes to print. So I've got really, I think, a new kind of look at it, because I did it without the track changes, but I need to go back and now read those questions and make sure that I'm in alignment before our meeting. So it's starting to look really good.
And Erin, can I ask, when did you print it?
Right after.
Right after we sent it?
No, I would have printed it a few days before I left. So that would have been August 6th, maybe?
Okay. I was going to note that there was kind of another round with the consultants. So I added some, and when he sent it back, for some reason, everything turned into tracked changes. So all the text was red and it was very difficult to read. So I copied his comments into the version that you all have access to. So you probably wouldn't have seen those. But they're attributed to me, but then they say like John Barentine or JCB, so they
need to be resent to her so she can see them?
Well,
Is
it's
that the part?
if she accesses the online version, it's just through a link and they'll be there, but they won't obviously be in the printed version, especially since the track changes didn't come through
And
anyway.
going to Barbara next. Yeah.
I just,
So I'll cross the bar. Thank you, Adrian.
I just want to say I have a dark skies meeting for 9 a.m. on Saturday, and I think that's wrong, but before I delete it. Okay.
Definitely no meeting for 9 a.m. on Saturday. I'm not sure what that's about. I do see the calendar invite that Aaron, you should have.
I didn't see the noon on Monday one either. There was another one I have
see
written
that you are on the invitation and neither of you, well, actually, yes, Michelle and Aaron have not responded, but I can see that you were invited.
Huh.
I don't like Outlook.
I don't like Outlook either.
How it handles stuff is really obscure. I know we're stuck with it, but I lose stuff all the time in Outlook. So
I don't know how to resend it if you're already
Can you cancel it and
on
send
it.
it again?
I don't want to do that, honestly, because that just
All
gets
right,
more
but so do you all-
confusing.
I've written it down, Adrian, and does the invite have the Zoom link or is that
does.
separate?
It does.
you write it
Maybe
down,
if I
Barbara?
reply all, that
Okay.
will send you another update. If you're looking in your inbox and you don't find it in the inbox, I would recommend go to your Outlook calendar.
Yeah, no, I'll look in my inbox. I'll look for that.
Okay. And Aaron, you know what date it is? Yeah.
Yeah, I can figure it out.
Okay. So we're all on the page, whether it's.
I was planning on sending out a update and reminder tomorrow afternoon anyhow, so I will reply all to that invite to
That would
do
be
that,
great.
and hopefully that will help it pop
Awesome.
back up.
Taking us to the tree issues. Any action with the tree issues?
Well, we have a report tonight that we're going to move forward, right, Adrian? With the tree inventory?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we have what we need to be able to move forward with that at this point in time.
Okay.
okay, score 1 for tree issues.
Yes. The little
need it.
victories mean so much. Do we need to speak at all to all these Baylands specifics? I don't believe any of us have any of us met on Baylands specific plan? No.
Not not for a long time.
Not for a while. Great. So that would take us on to calendar items. Calendar items. We're looking at.
We already talked about Coastal Cleanup Day. I guess I should have put the promo over here. And I guess TBD if we need to keep bumping the outdoor lighting standards, dark skies ordinance back or not. We may.
Let's go.
And we need signups for working the booth at Day in the Park.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, hopefully everybody has it on your calendar and can plan to come spend an hour or two or more.
Double check here.
I'm there all day.
I had it down for 4 myself. What's the CCD promo?
Coastal Cleanup Day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, sorry,
Good.
my little shorthand in
Good.
the. So for the Star that's coming out on, around September 1st, there's a Coastal Cleanup Day promo. And then the annual Sunshares program also launches on September 1st and will run from September 1st through mid-November. So if you have considered solar or you are interested in looking into solar and or storage, it's a great time to do so.
Great.
And we will probably have some handouts on that at our Day in the Park booth as well.
Yes.
So shouldn't planning for Day in the Park be on our September agenda?
Well, we discussed it last month. I'm not sure if we need to have
Oh, okay.
an additional discussion about it. We can if the subcommittee feels that's needed.
I think it'd be a good idea and then get people really locked into like showing up and helping and doing.
Agendize.
Yeah.
Agendize,
Yeah.
please.
Okay.
For
I think we sent out like, I don't know if it was SurveyMonkey signing up for the different shifts.
Yep, I'll go find the one from last year and
yeah.
Thank you.
remove some names, change some dates.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. So that would take us to chair and committee member matters. I'm the substitute Chair, I have no matters. Do you have any?
You matter, don't worry.
Well, I flipped my lid and now I don't matter. And committee member matters? No? Hey, thank you for the great ideas, everybody. Thank you for the hard work, Adrian, on that beautiful letter. And thank you, Mary, for offering to follow up with the goats. I think we're all feeling good about that. Any other matters, people? Matters? Next meeting? Yes. Chairperson Becker, Headmistress Becker.
That's great. I would like to thank my co-chair, Jason, for chairing this meeting so efficiently and effectively.
I was so calm, too. I wasn't nervous at all. I didn't call Adrian crying and screaming or anything.
I missed a few phone
Didn't
calls.
propped up by Mary at all. I was fine. Thank you, Dr. Becker. So our next meeting will be September 27th. And do I have to do this again, or are you back, Aaron?
Fortunately, you have to do it one more time. I'm sorry.
Okay, great. So I'll be less anxiety next time. Thank you,
great, Jason.
everybody. Do we need a motion to adjourn, or we just, no?
You just hammer that thing and we're done.
Oh, here it is. Oh, God, here I am. We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.